Hi, my name's Lee Thurburn, and today I'm talking to Susan Stageman. Susan is a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, and she's been, how long have you been doing neuro-linguistic programming training, Susan?
About 35 years, not quite 35, maybe between 33 and 34.
There you go, 33, 34 years in one industry says a lot. It says that you are good at what you do, you're sustaining yourself, and you must enjoy it. Do you still enjoy it, Susan?
I do, very much so. I love working with people, and I love the transformation that they get through working with me and working on some of the things that stop or prevent them from having the kind of life they want.
That is a great segue into where I want to go with this, which is the benefit people get out of neuro-linguistic programming. But a lot of people may not know what it is. So would you take a moment and just kind of tell us what it is?
Sure. Neurolinguistic programming is a system for understanding human beings. It's originally developed back in the early 70s, I would say. It's a unified field theory of information from psychology, neurology, systems theory, cybernetics, which is the study of human and machines. And let's see. Hold on, let me start over there. Psychology, neurology, systems theory, cybernetics, and linguistics. And it's a model for understanding success in human beings. So whatever it is that you want to do, there is someone out there that has accomplished that, and you can, through some of the processes in NLP, accomplish the same thing by understanding what they're doing. Mastery is about doing what you know and knowing what you do. A lot of mastery people who have mastered what they're doing, they do what they know, but they don't necessarily know what they do. So NLP is designed to help pull all of that out so that you can have a model, a step-by-step process for following what it is that they do in order to get the kind of success that you want. So that's it in a nutshell. It includes superb communication skills. And when I say communication skills, I don't necessarily mean that I'm going to tell you what to say. I've been involved in communication courses. I've looked at them, and oftentimes they tell people what to say in certain situations. That's not what NLP is. NLP teaches primary skills, the skills that you're using unconsciously to produce the things that you say. And when you start with primary skills, like just building rapport, building a connection with a person, they'll automatically respond, and you'll automatically respond in the appropriate way. So the other part of NLP is, how do you change what goes on between your ears? So often we get tripped up by emotional problems, boundary problems. We miscommunicate, we misunderstand what people are saying. We don't do the behaviors that we say we want to do. We're not motivated, or we put things off that we should be doing. And NLP provides techniques, processes that help literally recode those programs, if I can call them that, so that you can do the things that you're supposed to do. It's quite miraculous. So especially in today's world where you think that change has to be done alone and take a long time and be painful. So its approach to change is very, very different from a lot of other models.
A lot of people, you covered a lot of ground.
I know.
And a lot of people that are going to be watching this are going to be thinking, well, that sounds interesting, but I'm a business person and I just want to know, am I going to be able to sell more? What are the benefits?
Absolutely.
What are the benefits, concrete benefits that business owners can look forward to if they were to engage you to help them with NLP?
Yeah, absolutely. So from a sales standpoint, a salesperson can learn NLP or parts of NLP to be able to connect with prospects more deeply so that you don't have to sell them anything. They'll just tell you what they want. It allows them to ask more pertinent questions. I know a real estate agent in San Francisco who does such a good job of eliciting information on the front end. When he first starts working with a person, he'll show them 5 houses and they'll pick one. So saves time, saves a lot of going back and forth, because it really allows the salespeople to hone in on what the needs are of the prospect or the client and being able to deliver them, being able to communicate with them in a way that that really supports the relationship between the salesperson and the client. So generally speaking, salespeople that have done my training go from, they'll basically double to quadruple their income and do it in half the time. In other words, their sales cycle will shorten and they'll be able to qualify more appropriate prospects. So it all around, from a salesperson, it's just, it's like a miracle bag of tricks. From a managerial standpoint, a lot of companies, including Fiat and American Express, have done training for their managers, and it helps their managers key into situations with their employees. It helps them work things out between employees, problems with employees a lot faster. It even helps them hire better people. In other words, our brain runs patterns that fit certain jobs. And oftentimes hiring managers hire people that they like and they had really good rapport with, and they had a great personality, and they get in the job and they're not suited for the job. And so that's one thing, just helping them understand what the job needs from a thinking process and what kind of person will fit that job. And so that saves a lot of time and money, because oftentimes, companies hire people and they don't, oftentimes they don't work out. And then the company has spent all this time and effort training them and they don't work out. And now they have to start all over again. So saves from the top down money, so that their people are not doing things over again. They listen more carefully. In fact, I was looking just recently on the cost of miscommunication in business is every year is in the millions of dollars. So just from that standpoint, NLP can be a great asset to any company.
So when you take on a client that decides they want your help, is it typically a group setting or a one-on-one setting? And I'm presuming that since people feel like they need different things, that there's some sort of conversation in advance so that you can customize either the group, choose the group, or the individual program. Talk a little bit about kind of what that, for me to get help with, say, sales, would that be a 6-month long engagement? Or, just talk a little bit about the process that people go through with you.
Lee, oftentimes people come to me because they have individual situations that they want solved. Now, oftentimes salespeople will come to me because they say, I'm procrastinating, I'm not following up, I'm not doing this or doing that. But, part of their job to get clients is to be able to prospect, right, or follow up with people. And they find that aren't motivated, or they put it off. So oftentimes it's that little thing, or they'll say, well, I just don't feel confident. Here's the thing, feeling confident about something that they've never done before, if they're new to sales, is kind of an oxymoron, because no matter what you do, we don't normally feel confident at doing when we first do something. But And sometimes that's even detrimental. But we can feel self-assured that we can learn it. And that's where I can help a person. The other thing is that they need information about how to interact with people. They need to understand the importance of asking good questions, eliciting information, building trust and rapport. So lot of times people think that sales is a technique, or there's natural born salespeople. There's no such thing. I think there are people, I don't know whether they're naturally born, but I think there are people out there that naturally connect more easily with other people. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be good salespeople, nor does it mean that someone that had to learn how to connect more effectively with people cannot be good salespeople. So, you know, we're all selling, Lee. You know how that is. We're
Mhm.
always selling
Yeah,
and
all the
being
time.
sold to, just like we're always being influenced and
Right.
influencing. So, sales is just one aspect of persuasion and influence. And that's something that we do from the time we take a breath. So sometimes I watch little kids, out, and I think, why? Of course, my son is all grown and,
Right.
married and, all that sort of thing. But it's kind of funny, when I think that's the only way that they know how to say something to someone is either to laugh or to cry. I mean, there's not a whole lot of, there's no language in between that can communicate, what a child needs. So, or they cry when they get tired. What changes? Well, part of it's brain development, but I just think it's so interesting that, people do uh, people do what they do to get the results that they want, but oftentimes they don't get the results because they're not doing what's appropriate. And, you know, at some point you just got to stop crying and figure out what to do.
Well, I know I cry when I get tired. So, I
You
mean, I
do.
can, I
Is
can
that
certainly
it?
understand. Yeah.
I just
So,
lay down.
yeah.
So
So, but specifically when somebody, and let's just use sales because sales is such a common need.
sure.
Let's use sales as an example. So somebody felt like they needed you to help them with their sales ability.
Mhm.
Would that typically be a group environment that you'd put
Oh,
them in,
sure.
or
Yeah.
would that be an individual consultation and coaching and training session? I mean, what's the modality of your process look like? Is it typically group or one-on-one?
It's right now it's typically one-on-one. However, I do groups, small groups. I don't like big groups for one thing, because when people hire me, they're hiring a master. And, just like masters, they don't stand in front of a room full of 300 people. They have a group of 5 to 6, 7 people, maybe even less, who they're going to help, with individual situations, train them, teach them, help them adjust. And yes, there are certain things that every salesperson should know, or how to build trust and rapport. That I can teach that in a group. That's easy. But what about somebody's individual situation that might not lend itself to a group? So I like to have a combination of group, small group plus individual work that will allow a person to really create optimum results. I know that, let me just give you, step aside here for a second. I know that I took West Coast swing dances for 8 years. And I started out with group lessons, but when I stopped, and of course, the advantage of group lessons is to work, dance with a bunch of other people, and that helps increase your skill. But I got a lot out of doing individual private lessons where my instructor could adjust individually. It's just very much like when I was learning NLP for myself, that yes, I took classes. Obviously classes provide a way for people to do exercises and create experience with each other and practice and that sort of thing. But from an individual standpoint, from my mentors and coaches, I learned a lot about the model that sometimes in a group you just, because it's not necessarily applied to self. Does that make sense to you?
Sure.
So that if, from the group standpoint, I got practice and it got overall techniques and processes and that sort of thing. But it was from my mentors and my coaches, my own personal experience, that I was able to interact on a one-on-one basis and ask questions and kind of dig deep and that sort of thing. Oftentimes in a class, especially if there's more than say 12 people or so, when I go to have them do an exercise, I don't always check with them to see what they're working on. And so sometimes they work on things that aren't appropriate, even though I say these things in class, but aren't appropriate for the exercise, or they're much deeper in nature than the exercise is going to take care of. So oftentimes people will do classes and then do private work with me to kind of finish off the edges, so to speak.
Well, that's thank you for that. That I think builds a good picture. Susan, you're a master practitioner, trainer with neuro-linguistic programming. You have programs that can help business owners, whether it's sales or management. And those programs are both available in some cases in group and in other cases in one-on-one, but they're always customized for the needs of your particular client and what they need.
Sure, absolutely.
So if somebody needs more information, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'd like to talk to Susan, either look up, look down, look left, look right. Somewhere right around this video, there's going to be her contact information. Depends upon where you see it. So give her a call. She's always, you didn't say it, but I'm presuming you're always glad to have a conversation with somebody and answer their questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't always take it. Sometimes people have other needs. I don't automatically work with everyone that calls me, but I'd be happy to talk with them about some of their specific needs and to determine what would be the best course of action for them to get the help that they need or get the training that they need so that they can get what they want.
Great. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for your time today. And folks, if you need to speak to her, just look around and you'll find her connections. Thank you, Susan. Bye now.
Bye now.